So today's topic is the advanced part of structure. So the program that we have taken earlier of the array, actually we have faced that problem that if you have created the array of 100 students, if you have to create the array of 100 students for storing the marks of them, and suppose you have only the 10 data to be stored, so 19 locations that you are not using, it means that you are wasting the memory. So same thing is happened with the structure also. Suppose you want to store the student information, but you don't know exact count of student before running. So what you do actually, if you are using a traditional method, then what you are doing, you create the array of 100 objects which contains the 100 student marks. Okay, which contains 100 students. It means that you can store the information of 100 students inside it. But suppose only 10 students are present now, so then the 90 objects get the 90 object is you are not using it, so again wasting of memory. And we have seen that the last structure that we have created is having the memory of 28 bytes. Okay, so if 90 objects you are not using, it means that you are wasting how much memory? 90 multiplied by the 28 bytes. This much of memory you are wasting. Okay, so the same thing we can resolve by making that object allocation at a runtime. We are not allocating the memory at a compile time. We are allocating the memory for that object for the runtime. So when you are running the program, you just ask to user that how many student do you have that you want to make an entry. So user will tell 10 students. So only create the array of 10. If the user is asking for 100, just create an array of 100. Very simple. Getting? Okay, so then we can save our memory, very expensive memory we are saving there. Okay, so how to use that one first we will see, but before starting that, let me create one structure. Just revision how to create a structure. Tell me first, use the keyword struct, and then after that the name of the structure. Okay, then the curly bracket, opening curly bracket, closing curly bracket, and the semicolon. Last one is semicolon. The next one is your very first one is your, I think the same structure we will follow. Roll number, first member is the roll number, second is your name, the 20 bytes, and the next one is your float marks. Okay, so it means that if I'm creating one student, it contains the roll number, it contains name, and it contains the marks. So three information we can store inside the student structure. Okay, now if I'm using that traditional method of creating the structure object, so what is it? Struct student and S1. Okay, now if I'm using S1, then I can manually store its roll number like this: roll number dot equal to 1. Okay, and strcpy, then S1 dot name, comma, and suppose the Ganesh I want to store inside it, and then suppose marks I want to assign as a, suppose, 78%. Okay, so this is the way that I can access my structure member if I am using a compile time allocation. This is a compile time allocation. Okay, so when you call the main function, the memory for S1 get allocated, and it is allocated at the stack memory. Memory for S1 get allocated at stack memory, and you are storing the data of S1 there. And similarly, you can print that data also. The same program we have done in the last session. But suppose, what is the another technique to create the structure? So very simple. Instead of using the object, use the pointer. Suppose P1. Okay, so P1 is the pointer. It means that P1, what is the size of P1? Can you tell me what is the size of P1 here?
4, sir. 4 bytes.
S1 and P1. What is the size of S1? 28 bytes. What is the size of P1?
4 bytes.
4 bytes. Yes. Remember, size of any pointer is always 4 bytes in terms of the 32-bit compiler. Okay. So here the size of P1 4 byte, which contains the address of any structure object. Here the object S1. Here the object is S1. Now here S1 object, you have given the information to the S1. Now can I point P1 to S1? Yes, you can point. So how? Just store the address of S1 to P1. So address of S1 you can get by using the address of operator. Address of S1 is equal to P1. So it means that P1 contains the address of S1. It means that whatever the starting address of your structure object, that address you are storing into the P1. In other words, you can say that P1 is pointing to S1 object. Getting? P1 is pointing to S1 object. So I can access the contents of S1 by P1 also indirectly. So indirectly, roll number, name and marks I can access by using the P1. But how we can access it? Suppose I want to print the its roll number. I want to print roll number as well as I want to print the name. And again I want to print the marks. Okay, so how to print? Very simple. If I want to print integer value, use %d, but here I have to use here s1 dot roll number. Okay, similarly if I want to print the name, very simple, s1 dot name. Okay, here I want to print here float value, so %f and comma s1 dot marks, s1 dot marks. Okay, so when you run this program, actually when you run this program you will get output, but what you have done here, yes, that is a warning, just ignore that warning. The output is roll number 1, name and the marks. Okay, so that you have done here. Okay, so to remove that error, actually I want doing here and character n of 20 is equal to Ganesh, and instead of that I'm using n. Okay, so that warning will be
string.h.
yes. Include, I have not included the string.h, that's why there is an error. String string.h, and it will be done. Okay, so I think, and so no need to give here now n. Okay, so perfectly fine. But what is the problem here? I have directly uses the object name. Okay, the drawback of the using the object name is here. In main function S1 is accessible, but suppose if there is another function is there. Okay, suppose the other for the display function, and in the display function I want to print the content of S1, that is roll number, name and marks. So how I can do? I can pass the address of the S1 to that function. If I'm passing the address, I'm collecting into the pointer here. Okay, so if I'm collecting into the pointer, I want to access this roll number field by using the pointer of the S1. So how to access it? So just use the pointer name. And now which operator is used? Anyone know? If there is an object name, if object name is there, then use dot operator. If you want to access the structure member by using the object name, use dot operator. But structure member, if you want to access by using the pointer to that structure, then which operator should be used? The operator called as a arrow operator. Okay, so which operator we use? Arrow operator. It's called as the arrow operator. P arrow roll number. So it means that P1 should be pointer. P1 should be pointer. You can't do S1 dot roll number. If you want to access the roll number using the structure object, S1 is structure object, use dot operator. If you want to use pointer, then use arrow operator. Getting this? So which operator should be used depending on how you are accessing that structure member. If you are accessing the structure member through object, use dot operator. If you are accessing the structure member through pointer, use the arrow operator. But remaining is same here. Control B and you will get the same answer. Roll number 1 Ganesh and the marks is 78. Getting this? Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the difference here? Instead of S1, if you have pointer, use arrow operator only. Now what we do here, we write one display function. We write one display function which will display the contents of your student. Okay, student information. Student info / any. And now to call this display, I need to use the address of S1. I'm passing the address of S1. If I'm passing the address of S1, then tell me what should I write here? What is the input argument of display? Tell me.
Pointer, sir.
What is pointer? What is the data type of that pointer?
Star P1.
Only star P1? Data type. What should the data type? It should be
Structure.
struct struct student. Okay, struct student star P1. Getting? So the data type of the pointer and the data type of your object both should match. If the object is of type struct student, your pointer should be of type struct student. Okay, and what is remaining? Yes, prototype is remaining. Control C and just prototype. Yes, when I run this program, you will get the same answer. Student info 1 Ganesh 78. Get it? So in this way, actually, I can pass the structure object to the function here. But what is the type of passing here? It is the pass by
Reference.
reference. Now if you're passing by reference, if I'm changing its value, suppose you can see here, before printing I'm changing the value of roll number. P dot roll number is equal to suppose 100. Okay, and here also I'm printing the value of the roll number. Modified roll number is equal to %d/n, S1 dot roll number. Okay, so tell me, if I'm run this program, your first is student info, second one is roll number. What is the roll number get printed here? 100. Okay, 100 Ganesh, 100 Ganesh and 78. But when I again come back to my main program, what is the modified roll number here? Is it modified?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It is
Yes,
not
sir.
modified. Yeah, it is
Because-
modified actually.
So it's P1.
Yes, it is P1. Okay, so when you access the roll number into the main function, you will get that modified number. Why? Because you have used the pass by reference here. If you are using the pass by reference, you are not working on copy of that variable. You are working on a actual object. You are working on actual object S1 directly. P1 dot of roll number means S1 dot roll number. Very simple. Getting? So you are doing S1 dot roll number equal to 100. So after this, after calling the function, when you are actually accessing that roll number field, you will get a modified version of that roll number. Getting this?
Yes.
Have you noted down? But I'm writing here the another form of the display function. The name is display1. Now here display1 is not taking the object. Okay, it's not taking the pointer, it is taking the object. So I don't have to pass here address, only S1 give pass here. Now student info, and now here it is an object, so that's why you can directly use s2 dot. Okay, because s2 is not pointer, s2 is an object, so you need to access by using the dot operator, s2 dot. Okay, and then here. Okay, now tell me, if I call the display one function, if I call display function, just I need to copy that prototype. Let me copy prototype. Okay, now tell me, look at here, I'm calling the display one function. When the display function one function will be called, it is go to here, it will print student info, and then you are doing s2 dot roll number 100, and then it's 100 will be printed, name Ganesh will be printed, and the marks 78 will be printed. Okay, then again you come back to main function, and when you come back to function, what is the modified roll number here?
It won't change, so because it's passed by value.
Yes, it won't change. You can see here in a version of your display one, roll number is 100, but when you come back to main function, modified roll number, actually that roll number will not be modified. The actual copy of the S1 is not get changed. You are working, when you pass S1 here, only the copy of that S1 get passed. So copy means you are only passing values there. So S1 and S2 is not having the same object, but both values are only same. If you change the value of S2, it doesn't affect the value of S1 there. Getting? So remember that which version of argument passing you are using. If you are using the pass by value, then the the original argument will not change. If you are passing pass by reference, then the original argument can be changed. Getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the moral of the story here? If you want to create, if you want to access the structure object by using pointer, then use this method, arrow operator. Okay. So I'm just removing this s2 dot roll number here. Here also I'm removing. Okay. Okay. Now here, I don't want to create S1 here as we have created earlier. I don't want to create S1. Here S1 has been created before, but what is the storage of that S1? If I'm using here comma S1, then what is the storage? Where the S1 get created? It is created in stack memory. Why stack memory? Because it is created in the main function. So S1 is present in stack memory, but I don't want to store that S1 in stack memory. I want to store that S1 into the heap memory, heap type of memory. So which function should we use?
Malloc.
Malloc function. Okay, so how to use malloc function? Very simple. P1 is equal to struct, sorry, don't say it, struct student star, and then malloc, and then now how many object I want to create? Only one object. Okay, so 1 into, okay, and what is the size of struct student? Size of struct student. Size of struct student. Okay, so one object has been, now 1 multiplied by anything is that number itself, so that's why no need to give here on 1 multiply by. You can directly use size of struct student directly. Okay, now one object is created on heap memory, and the address of that memory, address of that object, you are storing into the P1. So using the P1, now you can access that member. Using the P1, you can access that object there. Now I want to store some value inside it. So how to use? Now that object is present in heap memory, but you have pointer P1 present into your stack memory. So using the pointer P1, you want to access that object. So how to access? Use the arrow operator. Very simple. So roll number P1 or roll number is equal to 1. P1 name, comma, Ganesh. And which function should be used? strcpy function should be used there. And then P1 arrow marks is equal to suppose 90.5. Okay, so it is my 90.5. Now I want to make a display, so just call display function and pass the address. The address can be passed by directly using P1 because P1 contains the address, so just pass P1. When you pass P1, it is get copied into what the address of P1, not address of P1, the address which is stored into the P1 get copied into this new P1. This P1 and this P1 both are different one here. The first P1 is present in main function, second P1 is present in your display function. But what is same here? The P1 contains the address of object, the same address you are copy into your this another pointer. Now this object is having the two pointer, P1 of main and the P1 of display. Okay, so if you want to access the object by using the pointer, we know that how to access by using arrow operator. So we have access using arrow operator, and after that we'll come back to main function and we'll see what is the output. The output is the strcpy. It should be strcpy. Okay, so output is roll number. Okay, so malloc function, tell me what is the error, why is warning?
Standard library.
Okay, so it should be std lib.h. Okay, so I get my output correctly. Okay, so here in this program I have created my structure object dynamically I have created, getting only one object I have created, so that's why I am making this one, P1 arrow roll number, P1 arrow name, P1 arrow marks. Getting this? So just note down this program. Note down this program. I have copied program, copy paste that program in the chat window. Just make a copy of it, and then we'll see if I want to create the array, then how to create. If I want to create array, so I want to create the array of 10 students. So how to create array of 10 students? It's very simple. Tell me, instead of size of struct int, you need to put here 10 multiplied by the size of struct student. Getting? So it means that now P1 is pointing to the array of 10 student. P1 is pointing to the array of 10 student. Getting? I can use.
So repeat it again.
Yes. Has defined student count. Suppose 3 only I'm using. So here instead of 3, I'm using student count. Okay, so when I do here student count multiply by the size of struct student is 28 bytes. So 28 bytes multiply by the 3 now. So it is, I think 28 multiplied by 3, anything. That number of the bytes get allocated here. And now the starting address of that array get copied into the P1. In other way, we can say that P1 is now pointing to, P1 is a pointer of array of 3 students. P1 is a pointer of array of 3 students. Getting? So there are the array. Yes, this is my array, which contains the 3 students. These are 3 students. And now this is my P1. This is my P1, and now P1 is pointing to this memory. P1 is pointing to this memory. Getting? P1 is pointing to this memory. What is the size of this memory? 28 bytes plus 28 bytes plus 28 bytes. This is the total size of this memory. Whole memory can be accessed by only using the P1 now. Getting this?
So P1 is pointing to the array, sir.
P1 is pointing to array. P1 is the pointer to array here. Okay, just like we have created the array to the we have created a pointer to array, integer array. Remember what we have done previously? Int ARR of 5, okay, is equal to 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so this is my data, and we have created one pointer P1P or PTR. Okay, and what we have done, PTR is equal to address of ARR of 0. It means that now PTR is pointing to the starting address of your array. Here also same thing. PTR P1 is pointing to the starting first object. PTR is pointing to the, or P1 is pointing to the first object of the array. If you have the address of first object, then you can easily get into the second one. You can easily get into the third one because it is stored in your consecutive memory location. Getting?
Yes, sir.
The same thing. We're just before that we have used integer variables. Here instead of integer variable, there are just object of students only. Getting? Now I want to access the first object. I want to access first object. First object roll number I want to access. What is, how, tell me then how I can access the first object? P1 of 0.
P1 of 0.
Can I access it? Yes. Can I access here P1 of 0? Can I access P1 of 0? Yes, P1 of 0. Can I access P1 of 0? Yes. If I'm using P1 of 0, then which operator should be used? If I'm using the arrow operator, so does it works? Does it work? It doesn't work because here P1 is a pointer, but P1 of 0 is not pointer. Getting? P1 is a pointer, but P1 of 0 is not a pointer. P1 of 0 is the actual object. P1 of 0 is the actual object. So how to access the object? How to access the structure member using the object? Tell me.
Dot.
Use dot operator. So we have to use the dot operator here. If you are using the dot operator, then there is no error. Getting? Now I want to print the first object. So how to use? Which function should be used? Now what I'm passing? I'm passing object. I'm not passing address. So which function should be used? Display or display one? I'm passing object. So which function should be
Display
used?
one, sir.
Yes,
Display.
display one should be used. So control B and you will get your answer. Okay. So here you have used the one object. So similarly, there are again two more objects are there. It can be accessed by using P1 of 1, P1 of 2. Getting? Or instead of that, you can use the same method for loop for integer I equal to 0, I less than student count, I plus plus, and then that scanf function you can use to get the data from the user. Enter the roll number, enter the name, enter the marks. Getting? But here, this is the same program that we have done earlier. But what is the difference? Tell me. In a first function, in a first program that we have done, in that program actually we have hard-coded the value 10 and directly we have done that P1 of 10 directly. So it means that 10 students you have to enter there. But here this value, now actually I have hard-coded the value, but you can use here n value n, and you can take that n value from the user. Printf, enter the student count, and then scanf, yes, %d, and then comma address of n, and instead of student count, what you need to do here, just n. So whatever the student count that you are putting or the user is putting there, that amount of student will be automatically created here. If the user is entering only one student will be there. If the user is entering 10 student will be created. 100 student will be created. Getting? So here there is no memory wastage. Yes?
Okay.
Getting this point, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So you called display one function, right?
Yes.
So
If I want to call display function,
function.
then I want to
It'll
pass
be
here
amp
address.
here.
I need to
Okay,
pass
that's
here
the only
address.
difference.
Yeah, that is the only difference. Actually, the scanf function is not working here. N is equal to 3. N is equal to 1 or N is equal to 3 also works. Just cancel build and control B. Okay. Enter the student count actually, but scanf I have not used, and directly I'm putting N equal to 3 and you are calling the display function. Yes, done.
So display 1 is passed by value and the display is passed by reference.
Pass by reference. Yes, it is a pass by reference and it is pass by value. Okay, so how to get it is a pass by value or reference? Just compare it. It is a pointer, pass by reference. It is object, pass by value. Okay, copy of that variable, pass by value. Actual variable, that is using the pointer, pass by reference. Yes, getting?
Yes, sir. Can you share this code?
Okay, so your assignment is the same program that you have done earlier. You have to do with this technique. Just remove that student count, remove the student count and just introduce this n here and take the student count from the user, that is how many students you want to enter. So it becomes a dynamic program now. Now you know that program that you have done, that is the fixed 3 student program, fixed 3 student program. Only 3 student entry you can do, but in this program you can do 100 entry also, 1000 entry also. Yes, done.
Sir,
Mhm.
can we give this void display 1, void display 2 before struct student?
No, 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 no. If you are giving, yeah, this is a very, very good question. Very good question. If you are giving this declaration before this, then there is an error. Because when you actually, when you compiler goes to declare the display, then what is struct student, your compiler don't know, because struct student is declared after this. Okay, so if you are doing this before, then the compiler show that declaration of struct student will not visible outside this function. Yes, so it means that what is the visibility of struct student, you don't know. That's why after that struct student you need to declare that function only.
Okay, sir.
Yes, very good question. Okay, other any doubts, any simple doubts also you can ask. Okay, so now you have get that how to create your structure dynamically also. If you create the structure dynamically, how to access the structure member, that technique also you have done. Okay, so I think this is the end of your structure now. This is the only point that structure contains. So all the technique that we can access, that we can use to access the structure member or structure variables, I have already covered it.
Sir, here if we want to access more number of students, means we should use for loop, sir.
If you want to access the more number of students, yeah. So instead of this P1 of 0, what you should know? I.
And
Here I, the same technique, the previous technique, P1 I, and just declare that all the statement inside the for loop. I equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus not 5, n. Okay, like that.
yes, sir.
And again the for loop. and display function should be p1 of I. Okay, so all the objects will be created, and here instead of that hardcode value, you can take the user input. Enter the roll number, scanf. Enter the name, scanf. Enter the marks, scanf.
Yes. Sir, here in display function also and display one function also we should change now, sir. There, for
No.
loop here also we should.
No. No need to use for loop in display and display one. Display function and display one function, these function is only used to print the information of one student only. If I want to print the information of 10 students, you have to call display function 10 times.
Okay, sir.
That's why we put the display in for loop.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Hmm.
why that strcpy?
Hmm?
Why that strcpy?
Because we need to copy here this Ganesh into name, string copy.
Why can't we give directly, sir?
How p1 of I dot name equal to Ganesh?
Ganesh. Yeah. Okay. String cannot be given like that. Okay.
String
Okay.
cannot be. Because name is your, we can do that, but in other words, we don't have to define here then array. We have to define the pointer here. If there is a pointer, then we can do that directly also. It also works now. If it is not array, then it works.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Okay, but don't use this technique that I have used here. Use the previous one because it is a more reliable method. Because this memory you have allocated. If you have allocated the memory, that memory is yours only. And if you are using pointer, then that memory is not yours. The object contains only 444, only 12 bytes only. Object is only 12 bytes, and this pointer is pointing to any random memory which contains Ganesh. If you are doing p1 of I.name equal to Ganesh, then it means that Ganesh is stored somewhere in your stack memory, and the address of that Ganesh is you are storing into the name pointer.
Okay.
But that should not be used. That should not be used. Some compiler don't allow it. Unallocated memory you should not be used. Getting
So
this
this also we can take user input, no, sir?
here.
That name only. P1, strcpy and marks.
Yeah, you have to take this user input only. In my actually editor, the user input not works, so that's why I have hard code that value only.
Okay.
So printf, first printf, and then scanf. Printf, scanf, printf, scanf. Only 6 statements inside the for loop.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now next point we should discuss as a union. Union. So new file. Hash include stdio.h, then control s union 1.c. Okay, now first we will discuss about the structure. Just tell me what is the size of this structure. Such a structure, student, integer, roll number, character n. Okay, only a single character is there. Huh? There is no array or pointer, only single character, and float marks. Okay, Can you tell me what is the size of this student?
9, sir.
Okay, 9. Why 9? Because the size of the integer is 4 bytes. The
Correct.
size of the character is 1 bytes,
Floating.
and it is also 4 bytes. And what is the size of character structure? It is the addition of all the structure memory location. Okay, so 4 plus 4 plus 1, 9 bytes is the total size of your student. Okay, now, and how it is get stored into the memory? How it gets stored into the memory? If you create the object of student, then the very first 4 bytes are, tell me, first 4 bytes are
Roll number.
roll number, 1 byte is n,
Name.
and the
N.
last 4 byte is the your
Marks.
marks. So this is my roll number, this is n, and this is my marks. The size of this is 4 bytes, the size of n is 1 byte, and the mark size is 4 bytes. Getting? If this is the object of this student, if it is object of student, then this is the memory allocation. Getting? Okay, next. Now instead of struct, if I'm using union, instead of struct, if I'm only using, now the format or the syntax of creating the union is very similar like your structure. Accessing the member also same, that is using dot operator. If you are using a union object, use dot operator. If you are using union pointer, use the arrow operator. The accessing of the structure object and the union object both are same, very similar. Okay, so all are repeated. Okay, now tell me, if instead of using structure, I use the union there, so what is the difference here? Now the only one difference of structure object and the union object, and that is, anyone know what is the, anyone know that?
No, sir.
No. So union uses the shared memory. This is the only one difference. It is uses the shared memory. So the memory for the union object is the memory allocated by the largest structure member or the union member, largest union member. So what is the size of the largest union member? Tell me. Which is the largest? Roll number and marks having the same size. So what is the size of union? Size of union is 4 byte only. If you create the object of this union student, then the size of this union is 4 bytes only. So total size is 4 bytes only. So do you have any question now?
Sir, if we have double also,
It is 8 bytes.
then it will be 8.
8
Size of union will be 8.
8 bytes. Yes.
Okay.
But now there is only 4 bytes are present. How you are going to store roll number, yarn, and marks there? If you are going to store roll number, then here the whole 4 byte is used there. Whole 4 byte. If you are going to use roll number, all 4 bytes. If you want to use n there, only 1 byte. Only 1 byte is used. Only 1 byte is used for n. So this is the n. And if you want to use the marks, again the whole 4 bytes can be used there. This is my marks. Get it? So can you have any conclusion here? By looking at this memory, can you have any conclusion? My conclusion is that though that union object is having the 3 union members, I can use only one at a time. This is my conclusion. Is it correct? Tell me.
Yes, sir. Only one.
Yes, it means that if I have stored the roll number, then I can't store marks. And if I store roll number and if I store marks, then that roll number get vanishes, because the same memory we have used there. Same memory we have used. If I'm storing roll number and then after that I am storing some value inside the n, roll number get changes there. Getting? So only one member at a time. So in some cases, generally union is not having any application in the user application softwares. For application software, it is not big useful, but it is very useful in your system software. To design a system software, this union is a very important role. There are some members are there. I want to store the value to that members, but only one at a time. Then I can store all that members into the union object. Getting? For example, there is one. I want to store some information of my marks. Okay. Of my TOEFL marks, or not TOEFL, I want to go for the exam. I want to appear for the I think TOEFL, GRE TOEFL. Okay, so suppose I have to decide that which exam I have to do, TOEFL or GRE. Okay, so I have not decided that which exam I'm going to give, GRE or TOEFL. So what I'm doing, I'm creating one union marks which contains the marks of GRE, which contains the marks of TOEFL. Now if I'm appear for the GRE, then the marks of GRE will be I'm storing. If I'm going for TOEFL, then the marks of TOEFL I'm storing into that particular union itself. So either of two I have to store only. Then I'm going for union. If instead of union, if I'm going for structure, then we have to create the two objects there. You have to create the two variables, like here. Instead of that, if I'm using struct exam and I'm using int exam or int GRE and the int TOEFL. Okay, and same union I'm using. Instead of struct, I'm using union. Now either of two exam, I'm only going to give only one. So which object or which technique I should prefer? Tell me, union or structure? If I'm going to use the structure, then if I have stored the TOEFL, then the memory for GRE get wasted there. If I'm going to store here the marks of GRE, the memory for TOEFL will be wasted there. But here no memory wastage is there, because the same memory will be allocated to GRE, the same memory will be allocated to TOEFL. Getting? So if I'm going to store the GRE marks, then TOEFL actually I have not appeared, so no need to store TOEFL marks. So either of two examination, I'm only going to store only one. So at that time I can use the union method. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if you have the more than one data, but out of that data, if you are going to store only single inside your object, then always use union there. Okay.
So suppose now in union, I enter for GRE,
Yes.
and then like I want to
access
delete
the
that, and
TOEFL.
I have to, like I can keep re-entering how many ever times, but one at a time.
Yes. Good question. Union exam and suppose ex1. Okay. And you say your question is ex1 dot gre is equal to 500. GR equal to 500. And printf GRE marks is equal to %d, comma, ex1 dot GRE. So you will have a marks of GRE. But so your question is, instead of that, if I'm store the TOEFL again, huh?
Yeah.
So what happened with the GRE? Yes, that is your question.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm going to store here TOEFL as a 1000, and if I'm printing GRE marks, as well as I printed the TOEFL marks also. Okay, so can anyone guess? Anyone having the guess? What is the answer? So here perfectly it is a 500, but what is the answer here?
Will the latest one get updated, sir?
Yes. So when you actually having the GRE mark stored inside it, so and you are printing GRE, so 500 will be answer. But if you are now store TOEFL inside it, so whatever the 4 bytes are there, that 4 bytes get modified as 1000. So what is GRE using? GRE uses the same 4 bytes, so it will access the 1000. TOEFL uses that same 4 bytes, so you are accessing as a 1000 there. Getting?
Okay, so we can use how many above, but it points to one.
Latest one. It points to the latest one again. So you are again storing the TOEFL is equal to 1000 and GRE is equal to 200. Then what is the answer?
Both are 200.
200 only.
200, 200. Yes, 200, 200. 1000 will be overwrite. Getting? So it uses the shared memory, and we have actually prove it also. Though you are modifying the TOEFL, but the GRE also get modified. Though you are modifying the GRE, the TOEFL also get modified, because the same memory is used by the GRE as well as the TOEFL. Yes. Character CH and if X GRE is equal to 250, no, it is 3, 5 and 3. Okay. %D, I'm printing the decimal value of the character ch ex1.ch. Okay, now what is the answer? Definitely it is 513. It is also 513, but what about ch? Yes.
Is it 513 is like converted value?
513 only, sir, because %d is
%D, but it is a character value. Character value never be the maximum value of character is 127 only. If you create any character value, then the maximum value that is get printed is 127, minimum is -128. So what is this 513? No? So to get it, we require the binary value of 513. 513. Is it? It is. So 513 equal to 513 is equal to this. Okay. So how this union get distributed? Tell me. So four bytes GRE, 4 byte TOEFL, same 4 byte the GRE and TOEFL would using, but the last byte only CH is using. Last byte out of the 4 byte, the last byte is being used by the CH. So what is the last byte? Tell me. Just look at the last byte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what is the value of last 1 byte? It is binary value. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So it is. So you are accessing how much value you are accessing, the which value? Only 1 byte you are accessing. You are accessing the 1 byte only. If you are accessing the 1 byte, what is the value of the last 1 byte? Tell me.
1.
1 only. So CH is equal to 1. Getting? So again, we have proved that your union uses the shared memory. The character is the last byte only. You can check it out here. 5 and 3. So what is the answer? It is 3. CH equal to 3. 5 and 5 is 3. Okay. So if this type of question appear in your C aptitude, just break out these numbers, break out this number into the binary first. And look at here. Now this is, you can break out, memory can be break out like this. This is my whole object. Out of the whole object, the whole is GRE as well as TOEFL. Okay, whole is GRE and TOEFL, but the last 1 byte is only CH. Last 1 byte is CH. So if you have the binary representation of this value, whole value, you can easily get the last 1 byte, and whatever the last 1 byte, that is the value of CH there. Yes. Are you getting this point? What I want to tell you to you?
Yes.
So whatever the number given, that number break out into the binary, and the last byte is your CH. If it is short int, then it is a different one. 2 bytes. Short int is 2 different one. Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Yes.
Sir, here int GRE and int TOEFL both are separate, no, sir?
Both are.
It is having 4 byte and TOEFL is having 4 byte.
But the 4 bytes are same. The same 4 byte uses GRE, same 4 byte uses the TOEFL. So it means that one location having the 2 names, GRE, TOEFL.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Just like suppose your name, your school name is different and your home name is different, but you are only one. Like that. This object 4 byte is there, but the same object I can access, the same 4 byte I can access by using GRE as well as by using the TOEFL. Okay. So this is your union. Now how to access union, how to initialize the structure, union members, then how to create the dynamic object of the union. That is a very similar like your structure, very similar. Use the dot operator when you are using the object, use the arrow operator when you are using the pointer. Getting? So I'm not repeating all that stuff. Okay. Now try yourself this one, because there are no such applications of unions. This is only theory you should know. Okay. Now next one is the enum. Next one is the enum.
Sir, one second. If
Yes,
we
yes.
use array like ch, character ch, and we make it as an array, then what's the difference?
The total size of union, tell me, you tell me, what is the size of total union? It is the size of union will be decided by the largest data member available into your union. So which is the largest one?
Oh, 20.
CH, 20 bytes. What is the size of union then? 20 bytes. So CH is total 20 bytes. The last 4 byte is GRE and the same last 4 byte is TOEFL. Last 4 bytes GRE, same last 4 byte TOEFL.
TOEFL.
Getting?
And in that 4 byte, the last byte is ch.
No,
That
last CH is not last byte. CH is the whole array now. CH is the array name, 20 bytes. The size of CH is 20 bytes now. It is not 1 byte.
Be the output, sir. Then the output.
We can't use here ax1.ch here. We have to use access 3 as a ch of 0. Output is same. Ch is 3.
Okay.
Okay. The last byte we have to access. If you are accessing the first byte, then I think it is first byte. First byte means the next byte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So it is here 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. 4 and this 4 bytes. I am deleting this, and this is 4 byte and okay 4 byte. 4, 4. So tell me what is this value? 2.
2.
So it should be print 2. C is equal to 2.
Okay, sir.
Getting? But what is CH of 3? 0. CH of 3 is 0. Because remaining the further all are 0.
Okay.
Okay. So next one is enum. So how to create enum? Enum in C. Okay, so enum can be created by using the keyword enum, and then after that the name of that enumeration, and then inside it what are the tags of the enum that we are creating. What is the use of enum we will see. Okay, so this is my use of the enum. Okay, sorry, this is okay. So enum I have created. Actually enum I am creating into the main function itself, because it's a local enum I am creating. You can create the outside also. Enum colors, and then now different colors is, suppose first one is white, comma, then, or instead of colors we will put the weeks. Okay, weeks. So very first is Sunday, next is Monday, next is Tuesday, next is Wednesday, next is Thursday, next is Friday, next is Saturday. Okay, now what is the advantage of using the enum? So it means your advantage of enum is you can directly compare. Suppose if you ask the user that enter the day of week, enter the day of week. Okay, and you are scanning from the user %d address of suppose day, and the day is the variable, integer day. Okay, now user is entering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think it should start with 0 to 6. It is printing 0 to 6. Okay, 0 means Sunday, 1 means Monday, 2 means Tuesday, like that. Okay, so if I want to print the day of the week, like user has entered 2, I have to print the Tuesday there. So what I'm doing here, in a simple way, I can do here, if day equal to 0, then print Sunday. Else if day equal to 1, then printf Monday. Okay, like that I am going to create the whole month, whole week here, day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, like that. Okay, but here what is 0? Using the 0 doesn't make any sense. Instead of that, I can use here SUN. I can use here MON. Directly I can use here. Or instead of that, you can use the directly Sunday. I can use here Monday. Okay. So now your program becomes more readable. If day equal to Sunday, then printf Sunday, or you can even print it is holiday. Yes. Now Monday, working day. Working day. Okay. So what is the difference in previous program and this program now? Which is more readable? This is the more readable. Why? Because by looking at the program, you can say that here, if day is Sunday, then it is holiday. If day is Monday, then it is holiday. But instead of that, if I'm putting 0 here, then if day equal to 0, what is the meaning of 0? I don't know. So what is enum here? This Sunday I have created in my enumeration, in which I have created one symbolic constant. I have created the symbolic constant there. So there the meaning of Sunday is defined here. Sunday is Sunday there. But the meaning of, actually, if you print the value of Sunday, then it is nothing but your 0. You can use it here. Percent or Sunday equal to %d, comma Sunday. Okay, so if you're trying to print the value of Sunday, then it is 0. So remember that when you create a symbolic constant, very first constant present in your enum having the default value as 0. If it is 0, the next is 1, the next is 2, next is 3, then 4, then 5, then 5, 6, then 7, like that. Getting? So the using the day equal to 0 and the using the day equal to Sunday, both are same. Actually, this, when this program going to the compiler, the Sunday will be replaced by 0. But to more readable your program, to design your program more readable, instead of putting 0, you are using one symbolic constant Sunday there. Getting? This is the only use of the enumeration there. Okay, so actually that scanf. Okay, scanf actually not works. So instead of that, I'm giving day is equal to 1. If I'm giving day equal to 1, then it is a working day. Day equal to 1 working day. And what is the value of Sunday? Sunday is 0. The value of Sunday is 0. The value of Sunday is 0 there. Getting? The value of Sunday is 0. What is the value of Monday? It is 1. What is the value of Tuesday? It is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Getting? So what is enumeration? Enumeration is nothing but creating only symbolic constant. Only symbolic constant. Getting?
Sir, here day is equal to 1 you have given, no, sir. There, instead of 1, if you give directly Sunday, will it give the same answer?
Yeah, you can put here Sunday. So if day equal to Sunday, Sunday will be replaced by 0. So what is day? Day is 0. So if day equal to 0, that is your Sunday, then it is a holiday. So your output is Sunday, holiday Sunday.
Okay.
But this Sunday actually you are not getting. This day you are getting from user. So user is not going to put Sunday there. User is going to print, user will going to give the input as a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only. Because day of the week says 0 to 6 only. 0 is the starting day. 0 starting day. So 0 starting day is Sunday. So Sunday holiday. If the day is user has entered 1, then it is Monday. Getting?
Okay.
Now this program and the previous program logic is very, very simple. Now it doesn't affect your logic. It will only affect your readability of your program. Getting? Now we have done the lots of programming before. How you use enum? We will not use enum. But instead of using enum, I can use here like this, just like I think you have done that program, calculator. Yes, in that calculator you have done that, enter the 1 for addition. So addition, enter the 0 for addition, or okay, enter the 1 for addition, then it is subtraction, then it is multiplication, it is division. Okay, so what is the value of the addition now? If I print the addition, then what is the value? By default it start with 0. By default, if you are not giving the value, by default it start with the 0. So where enum is having the first constant as always 0. But if you want to reinitialize it, you can reinitialize with the 1 also. If addition equal to 1, then subtraction is 2, then multiplication is 3, then division is 4. Getting? And now you are doing choice. You print that menu, you print the menu, and in that menu actually, after printing the menu, you are doing enter your choice, enter your choice, and you are scanning from the user, %d, then address of choice. Okay, and what you have done before is swit switch choice for the different cases, and you have done case 1. Before this you have done this, but now I can do this addition, case addition. In case of addition, then what to do? Here the code for addition. Whatever the code for addition you will put there, and then after that break. And then next one is case subtraction, and here again the code for subtraction, and again break. Okay, and again the case for multiplication, case for division, like that. Now this program becomes readable. Now your program is now more readable. Instead of using case 1, now what is 1? Okay, if I forgot 2, I forgot that 1 means addition. Then for writing a program very long and you forgot that, if the user has entered 1, what is the meaning of 1? You have to remember. But instead of that, if I'm using enum, then instead of 1, I'm using addition only. But in a background, the code is same. Case 1 is there, case 2, case 3, case 4, like that. Getting now? Yes, Dipti?
Yes, sir.
Saranya? Yes, are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can now modify your program where actually you need a symbolic constants. You can use the enumeration there. Remember that enumeration start with the always 0. If you are not initialized, start with the 0. Now you can initialize by your number also. Initialize with 1, then 2, then 3. Now if it is 1, now tell me 20. I can also do this. So what is addition? If I'm printing addition, 1. If I'm printing subtraction, it is 2. Now what is multiplication? 20. What is division? 21. Get it?
21, sir, division.
Division is 21. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So when you reinitialize the inner constant, then further constant will be depends on the previous one. If the previous one is 20, the next one will be 21.
Subtraction, sir.
Subtraction is 2.
Okay.
1 2. Okay, but if you are not initialized, then it is 1 2 3 4. If it is also not initialized, then it is 0 1 2 3.
Okay. So the only use of this is we don't have to define menu. Like
We don't have to hardcore the values in
Okay.
our program. Instead of giving the constant value, we can give this name of that constant value. Again, one more thing here, it doesn't require any memory. If you create the enum, it doesn't require memory. But instead of that, you are saying that, sir, instead of that, I can use the one variable addition, which is equal to 1. And I can do this case addition equal to, but it requires the 4 bytes of memory. Getting? But now if you are using the same thing in a enum, it doesn't require a single byte of the memory. It is just a symbolic constants that you are creating. Yes.
Yes.
If you have studied the 8051, actually there is a EQU directive is there. EQU.
We haven't studied.
Yes, EQU also create the symbolic constant. So the same thing here in C language, to create a symbolic constant, we use the enumeration. Okay, so take some more practice questions on the enumeration also. You can get better knowledge in the enum. But this is the only theory that is related to enum. Enumeration is this symbolic, it is used to create a symbolic constant. The starting value of the enumeration constant is always 0, but you can reinitialize it also. If you reinitialize it, the subsequent enum constant will be changes according to that value that you initialize here. Okay. So tell me, what is the value of addition? Addition value.
0.
Subtraction.
5.
5,
Multiplication.
6,
Division.
7.
Okay, so you have understood this. Very good. Now you can create the enum inside main. Also, you can create the enum outside also. Now it is, if you are creating inside main, it is a local declaration. If you create the outside, it's a global declaration. All the function can able to use this enum. Yes.
So that compulsory, like first value is addition.
Yes.
So compulsory case addition, that thing has to match.
Yes. So what is addition here? 0. If
No,
the
like,
user, yes.
Yeah, we can't give their addition and here case add.
No. The spelling should be matched. That is your question.
Yeah. Because
Spelling should be matched, because what your compiler will do, compiler will search out the addition. Is it any symbol available for addition? So your enum says, yes, I have the symbol, constant, symbolic constant.
okay.
Yeah, this is addition 1. The value of addition is 0, replace 0 there. So case 0 will be there. But choice should be 0 there. Huh? If you want to execute this code for addition, you should give the answer, you should give the input as a 0 there. If choice equal to 0, then only case addition will be performed in case of this declaration. Getting?
Yes.
Okay, so one more time, revise that program, menu driven program. Okay, so file operation we will take tomorrow, but before that, that program that you have shared with me, that we are going to modify here. Okay, so this is your program, struct student, roll number, choice, swap. Okay, so why this choice is a global? Why choice is global? Why swap is global? Because only one main function is there. If only one main function, then no need to give here other global members. It should be local.
Okay.
The member is global only when that variables are accessible to all the function, then only make that variable as a global. Okay. Now next one is okay, for loop. Then details of students printed. Okay. 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 Now from this, I think okay. So from this statement, actually, we will perform that repetitive statements. Do this, all the statement will put into the do while. While. And here we can put here printf. Do you want to continue y or n? Okay. And then scanf %c comma y, not y. I think
You have to declare.
choice variable है नहीं.
No, you have to declare something else. New choice.
Okay, choice variable. So ch variable I'm defining address of ch. Okay, and I'm using that f/std in.
Okay. If
And here while ch is not equal to n or ch is
capital.
not equal to capital N. Okay, if it is not equal to n, small n or capital N, we have to repeat these statements. Okay, so then we'll move here, details of the students. Okay, now detail of the students actually we'll put as a display. We'll add one more case. Case 3, case 4 we will add. Case 4 will be add, and that is my display.
This.
And then break. Okay, so this I enter 1 for one sort by roll number. Sort by roll number. Enter 2 for sort by name. 3 for sort by marks, and 4 for
Display.
display. Display the data, because after sorting we need to display the data. Before sort, after sort, we need to display data, so that's why I'm taking that display.
So that I've given, but this display the data will display like what we enter without sorting. So
Yes. Yeah, enter your choice and then address of choice you are taking, then switch choice. Switch choice, and the first is case 1. Okay, so you are using which sorting? Bubble sort. So if roll number is greater than it, then now roll number, if roll number is greater than this, then okay, so you have swapped only roll number here. You have not swapped the whole data. Only the roll number of that data will be swapped here. You are not swap. If roll number, you have to swap by roll number. Suppose your roll number is 3 and other roll number is 1. So what you have done, only roll number is swap, but the data is same for the previous one. If the first three roll number is having the name Ganesh, now after swapping, roll number 1 is having the name Ganesh.
No, sir, it worked for mixed data also. It worked like it sorted according ascending order.
Okay, I will show you what is your mistake.
Okay.
So we'll run your program first, then we will modify the program. Okay, so after swapping, okay, so this is the print. I'm removing this print. Case 2. Here also you have swap only the name, but the remaining data has not swap. Okay, and case 3. For loop, yes, done. And again, remove this. Case 4. Details of the students. Okay, slash n and then break and then default. Valid choice 1 to 4. Valid only for 1 to 4. Okay, default statement doesn't require break.
Okay.
Okay, so done.
So there's only for roll number you're displaying, sir.
Where?
Case 4.
Case 4. Yeah, roll number, name, and marks all displayed.
Okay, fine.
So the name of my program is union1.c. So basic cd download slash zoom slash c and gcc union1.c dot slash dot out. Okay, so enter roll number. So how many students?
3, sir.
3 only. Okay. So first to the roll number I'm taking as 8. Name is Ganesh and the marks is about 98. Okay. Third is suppose 3. Marks Mahesh. The marks is 56. And the roll number is suppose 20. No, 20. It should be middle one. 5. And it is Kiran and marks is suppose 67. Okay, so first we will display the data. My data is our Ganesh is having the roll number 8. Just remember it.
Okay.
Roll number 8, Mahesh 3 and the Kiran 5. Okay, do you want to continue? Yes. Okay, sort by roll number. Okay, so I'm entering 1 here, choice 1. So I think it should be sorted, but we need to display it. So Y and 4. You can see here. Now my Ganesh is having the roll number 3.
Okay.
So this only happened for me also, sir.
So what is the mistakes here? You have swap only roll number. So the swap, if you swap the roll number, then only roll number will be swapped. this Kiran and Ganesh roll number will be swapped. The remaining data will not be swapped. Swapping the student means swapping the whole object. The whole object should be swapped. So how to swap the whole object? First roll number swap, then
Okay.
your name also swap, and then the marks also swap. Okay, so j and j plus 1 here, j plus 1, and here j and j plus 1, so no problem. Okay, so this thing you should do with the remaining also, with this also. Done. So when you get this condition, then the whole data should be swapped. Whole data means roll number also should swap, name also should swap, and the marks also should swap. Getting? So we'll check the program. Okay, so it is not exiting. If ch percentage c and a percentage c address of ch, if ch is not equal to small n, or okay, there should be only one condition. GCC union.c clear, and then I'm running the program again. So student number, so same data will put Ganesh, and the marks is about 98. It is, I think, 5 or 3.
5.
3. Mahesh and 67, and is 5, and Nilesh, and I think it is 34. It should be 78. Okay, 78. Now display the data. Now you can see here Ganesh 8 and 98, 3 Mahesh 67, 5 Nilesh 78. So I want to swap by roll number. So swapping by roll number means this 3 Mahesh 67 should be at the first place. Then 5 Nilesh 78 should be at second place, and 8 Ganesh 98 should be at third place. So sort by roll number. Okay, and Y, and then display data 4. In a display data, can you see the difference?
Yes,
This
sir.
3 Mahesh 67 should be first place. So 3 Mahesh 67. Then 5 Nilesh 78 and 8 Ganesh 98. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now next one is swap by name. We will check it. In the swap by name, actually, this Ganesh 8 Ganesh 98 should be at the first one, then Mahesh, and then Nilesh. So swap by name Y, and display 4. See here, 8 Ganesh 98 at the first place, then Mahesh, and then Nilesh. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next one, so swap by sort by marks. Now in the sort by marks, 67 should be, now which sorting you have used, ascending or descending?
Ascending.
Ascending. Well, it means 67. Mahesh should be at the first, then Nilesh, and then last one is Ganesh. Last one is Ganesh. So 3. Yes, and again display. So 67 at the first, 78 and the 98. So Ganesh 98. So never this 8 Ganesh and 98 will not be changed. It is always the only position of that object will be changed only. Getting this?
Yes, sir.
So this is your modified program. Okay, so what I do? Should I send this program on WhatsApp or chat?
WhatsApp, sir.
WhatsApp. Okay. Okay, now you can see easily 141 is the number of lines, but this program is not so much difficult to remember again. You can add more functionality inside it. And have you seen my programming style?
Yeah, sir.
Do, and then tab, switch tab, case 1 tab, for loop tab, if tab. So my program is more readable now. My program becomes more readable. Now what to do? Just remove the student count here and take the user input. How many students you want to enter? And it is should be entered in n variable. So all student count should be replaced by n. Okay.
Yes, sir. So suppose we're using, like, instead of do while loop, just while loop.
Yes.
Then
Only while loop.
yeah.
If I'm using while loop, then this should be your answer. If ch is not equal to n. But if ch is not equal to n, and ch is by default y. Ch is by default y. And just remove this while here. But this way your code there.
Okay.
So by default ch
Yeah,
is y. Okay, so it goes inside. So it will perform first time, and you are again asking for the ch. Do you want to continue y or n? If user has entered n, then loop breaks. No, n is not equal to n, condition false, you will go outside. Okay.
Okay.
Or instead of that, you can also do one more thing. Only while one. And I'm not using this. Do you want to continue? And what I do, I'm adding one case 5. Case 5 I'm adding. Case 5. And what is my case 5?
Exit.
Exit. Directly exit. Or directly return. You can directly use a return statement here. Return 1. Or return 0 here itself directly. When you enter 5, return 0. Okay.
Okay.
So no need to put the ch again here, directly while loop. And you can use here printf 5 comma exit /n. Yes, just return. Yeah, you have used return. If you use exit, then you have to include the stdlib.h. The exit function is present in stdlib.h. Okay, so I'm stopping here, and only one point is remaining, I think, and that is your file operation. So we'll take that file operation tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think it is a last lecture. It might be last lecture. Okay, so be prepared for your project. So I will assign you a project, and you have to perform the project, and only after completing that project, you will get a project completion certificate. You are getting the training completion certificate from the GB Softonics, as well as if you complete the project, then you will get an additional certificate having the project completion certificate. Okay, so you will get 2 certificates if you complete the project. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.